Hello. Hang on, I'm gonna pause this music. Hello everyone, how's it going? That's right, we're doing another stream, and today we're gonna be taking it a little bit slower. Slow things down a notch, and I want to take my time today because yesterday I realized that my mind was going in 50 different directions. I was really frustrated about Photoshop. Photoshop was just giving me tons of trouble. So, you know what I did? You want to know what I did? Immediately after that stream, I shut it down and I was like, I'm going to review that, and if it looks like crap, if it seems like crap, I'm just not even going to air it. And it did. I looked at it, I was like, I'm not happy with that quality. I'm not happy with that quality at all. It's like nothing really got done. Photoshop was lagging the whole time. So I just decided to try again. So today we're going to be working on this today, as well as we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and that is a warm-up sketch. We're going to be starting with a blank canvas. Oh my gosh, the white, or in this case, dark gray, or slightly off-white, light gray void. And that's what we're going to be getting into today. So, yeah, thank you all for showing up yesterday. And, yeah, I wanted to jump into this again today. Let me know if my voice is coming through very clearly. I'm wiping off some dust on this thing. And, yeah, I've realized that streaming is meant to be something completely different. Because when I'm doing my tutorials, I'm like 100% on all the time. Whereas with streaming, I can have my little yogurt right here. You like this, Chobani? Have you ever seen these with the little fruit cup thing? Look how tasty that is. So it's like, yeah, streaming, I can have my yogurt. I can have my yogurt and eat it too. And I hope you're all doing well today. Please enjoy the sound of my lips smacking. So to get started, I want to show you guys what I did to Photoshop. You guys probably won't be able to tell, but I can tell. So we're going to start off things today by, there was a really good question that was asked yesterday, and that was, how do I get a character's face to appear the same way every single time? And I'll show you exactly how to do that. We're going to do that with our warm-up sketches. Okay, so let's begin. So we're going to start with Mika's face, okay? So Mika's face is really easy. You just do one of these. And then you just go ahead and... Okay, hold up. Hold up. I can already tell there's still some slight glitches happening, but I know how to fix them. I already know how to fix them, but I'll get to it in a second. We're starting with Mika. So Mika's really easy, and all characters are actually quite easy because you can see how I created that circle and the chin shape. So I'm going to do another one over here. Let's do it from a different angle. Let's have this from a crazy side angle. So now her ear is going to be there, and her face. I like to create like a line showing the center of the face. That really helps me. And then from here, I like to think about her eyes. Her eyes tend to follow a little bit of this curve of that circle underneath, but you want to be careful with that because that circle changes depending on what perspective you're in. So this is kind of the start of Mika's face, as you can see here. And yeah, I hope you guys are painting along. Thank you for painting along, Ufian. I see you there. So once I get about to this point, I'll go in and I'll start erasing some of my older construction lines. And I like to check in with my best friend, Control J. Let's go ahead and hit Control J. That's Control Duplicate, or the shortcut for duplicate. And I can already see this eye is way out of whack. This eye needs to be way over here. So I'm considering the nose, right? If I were to draw in this nose and thinking about it, like actually attach this face, see how this line would go up here and this is where her like cheek would be? I'm thinking about that to like separate and keep my eyes working in 3D space, okay? But of course I'm just thinking that, I'm not drawing all of that. But if it helps, you can draw it and just kind of erase lightly. Sometimes that's what I do. So I know that that eye needs to be more like that. And there we go. Voila, cute Mika face. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so there's one Mika, and I know that her hair comes down like so. And voila, you have cute Mika face. Love it. Now, there is a quicker version that I've been experimenting with, and I can show you that over here. It's actually this one. Yeah. It's always good to have reference. So I really like this one. So I did this earlier, and let me show you how I measure this out. Let's say you have a picture of your character that you drew, and you're like, that's the face. That is the face that I want to replicate every single time. First thing you want to do is get in there, get yourself some nice bright colors, and then get in there and begin making measurements. Okay, and you can see, oh, okay, there's the circle that creates Mika's face, and there's her chin shape. That could be way more clear. See that? So those are your building blocks. And I'll draw both Mika and Moka. Okay, so just stand back and watch me do this. Just back off and watch me do this. So with that information, see, bottom of that circle, we know because this face is in perspective, that nose needs to come out like this. Okay? And look, we're playing with some crazy perspective here. So this eye is going to be almost, you're almost not going to even be able to see this eye. But we know that kind of draw that eye in and think about the forehead. Okay? And be messy to get started because you can always go in there and line sculpt. And then that other eye should be right about there. And there you go. Also, I'm noticing that in this measurement, see, this is really good. There's our halfway point on that circle. Look at how much lower her eyes are there. Versus halfway point on this circle, her eyes are higher. So that means that our proportions are off. That's okay, it's natural, it happens to all of us. So let's go ahead and nip that in the bud. Let's go ahead and just duplicate that and move it down. Because I'm really trying to capture that face. So let's go boom. Let's go boom. After I finish this face, I'm going to take a break. So if you feel like I'm ignoring you, I am. But it's just because I want to focus on painting for a second. But I love you guys. Thank you for showing up today. Okay, so here's what I learned. Check this out. We're going to do plastic surgery right off the bat. We're going to go... Actually, you know what we can do? If we need to make that circle bigger, let's not even redraw any of the face. Let's keep those eyes in the same distance, or in the same place. And let's just make the head bigger. So we now know that Mika's head needs to be bigger. This is the center point right there. Mika's going to have this big old alien head. Okay, to keep those proportions.
My job's a bit loose, so I'll draw along. Love you, heart.
My job's a bit loose, so I'll draw along. Aw, thanks, Dane. Yeah, I hope everybody is surviving the plague. All the crazy changes that are happening to people's jobs and stuff. It's very interesting, but I hope you're staying safe. And yes, my best wishes to you. And thank you for coming and hanging out. I hope this makes the crazy pandemic that's happening a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, so yeah, now we can see, okay? Still a little bit not perfect proportions, but let's just see how that works. But yeah, the main thing with faces is proportions. I don't care what anybody says. It's all about your proportions. That's how you get the same face over and over and over again. It's just your proportions. And you can get those proportions by making measurements. Think of yourself as a combination between a 3D animator and a 3D sculptor. You're working with these shapes, but you're working with these shapes in 3D space. So Mika probably looks something more like that. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting closer. Hold up. There we go. So this is already going pretty well. I'm pretty happy with these warm-ups. Pretty dang happy with these warm-ups. He's got this going on. And we've got the hair right there. There. So see how the differences between these two faces? Already I can see like, oh, that's not 100% Mika's face. And now we know why. It's because we needed a slightly bigger forehead. Gotta get that big old alien head going. And just know, guys, I still don't get my faces 100% of the time. But I know how to begin dialing them in. And that's going to come into play once we're done with our warm-ups. We're going to head on over here. We're going to start painting Moka's face. I already did it on Mika's. But you can see here there's overpaints that happened. And this happens a little bit just in general as I begin to refine a little bit. Like technically I like the wider eyes, but that works more so when the drawing is less rendered. So like here, those eyes work. But see how once I start shading in the face and really starting to show more of the geometry like that nose and stuff, once it starts feeling a little bit more realistic, I find that I need to start pushing the eyes themselves. Everything needs to be slightly more realistic. But at least that's my experience thus far. So yeah, we'll be talking about how to bring faces into a little bit more realism, but still preserving the feeling of what we like. So preserving that feeling. And that's what we're going to be doing because I really like that Moka face and I want that Moka face to be there. It's pretty close, actually. It's pretty dang close. Granted, her expression is different, but even the smile, there's like slight things in the smile that I would change. We're going to get to that in a second. I'm going to draw at least one cute Mika. One cute Mika. Then we'll break. Okay, so I'm really trying to figure out exactly how her hair works because she's got this giant thing. She's got this giant piece of hair that comes down like that, and I don't know if I want it to hug her cheek on the side. Actually, yeah, from that drawing, it looks like it's doing that. Okay, and this is really good because I can already see some of the changes that I would be making to her face. And that pigtail is way too high. These are rookie pigtail placements. Cool. And if you hear me going quiet for a second, just know I'm going into my zone. You know that's a good place for me to be. Okay, so I'm generally happy with that. However, I need to readjust so that way I'm closer to this mic. Let's go ahead and take this and take that face. That face, let's move that over here. Let's really capture that feeling. So our best friend Control J is going to come to our rescue. And here's what I'm seeing here. So what needs to happen is this whole face right here. This is what I call plastic surgery. I'll begin lassoing, hit Control T, right click, go to warp, and see how I can just begin kind of bending things. This is where I talk about being like a 3D modeler, because you're now messing around with the vertices. Messing around with the vertices to get a look that you want. And I do this all the time when I'm painting. It's so commonplace I don't even think about it anymore. And then this hair, yeah, needs to be much taller because as we know from our measurements, the hair actually goes above and beyond that that circle just a tad bit. Didn't know about warp? Wow, it just blew your mind, J Udesu? Yeah, warp rocks. Warp rocks, and everybody's using it. So use it. Use that warp. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. I'm going to tell you what's bothering me. Immediately what's bothering me about this face is that this nose needs to be more upturned. So we're going to go boom like that and then bring it back just a tad bit. I'm going to try that nose. That nose looks a million times better. And then this eye was way too high. That eye needs to be like that. And then that eye needs to be lower too. And because her head is turned, we're thinking about ellipses. We're thinking about where is that eyeball actually at? Where's the edge of that eye? So I'm thinking things like this. And because of the ellipse, because when you turn your head, more of that eye gets occluded by your eyelid. So you might end up seeing something more like this. Kind of compresses the eye a little bit. And then we can erase this, erase that. We have that shape. When you see me do that shape, that's the edge of the eyelid. Basically is what I'm hinting at right there. And now, yes, we have this edge of the eye. Pay attention to how much white of the eye is showing. It's called sclera. It's S-C-L-E-R-A, sclera. Sclera is important for getting your characters to look in the same direction. So it's like she's looking there, that much sclera is showing. Make sure that much sclera is showing on the other side. And see, already we're getting closer to that Mika face. And these angles are always really hard to do. So if you struggle with them, don't worry, I struggle too. It takes me a while to get, you know, just how much of that eye should be occluded by that nose. And how big should the nose be? So nose is slightly bothering me, but I'm just going to leave it because it's just a warm-up. And then these lips. Those lips need to be further back. Okay, so see that from there to there? See how much of a difference that makes? I hate to break the bad news to you, but pixels make the difference. I used to want to believe that I was like, oh no, you just got to get close enough. It's like, no. You as a human being have trained your entire life to notice differences, notice minute details in people's faces. So yeah, pixels oftentimes can make a difference. It can make a huge, huge difference. And that is both a good thing and a challenging thing. It's awesome because it's like your character can have so much character. Your character can have so much character in their face. And yeah, it's up to you to try to capture that and figure out exactly what are those minute details. What are those minute details that are going to make the difference? Okay, that nostril should be right there. I like to give my girls nostrils. My anime girls can actually breathe, and I take very much pride in that. Take a lot of pride in knowing that my girls can actually breathe. Because her mouth is closed. If she didn't have nostrils, she would be suffocating right now. You understand that, right? So now when you see all these cute little Instagram girls, see all these cute Instagram anime girls, and you see them without nostrils, if they have their mouths closed, know that they're suffering. They are actually suffering. And with that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so see, we went from that, see, where we started, boring, much better. See how those faces are coming together now? I'm going to go ahead and save this just so I can upload it later. Let's go ahead and save this out here. That's Mika face. Oh, wait. I already have that. Mika face B. I'm going to take a break and enjoy my yogurt. And I'll keep this on so that way you guys can at least see that. Ooh. Oh, imagine needing oxygen. Yes, Ufian. Okay, so here's another thing that I'm going to do for my breaks. Because I've been noticing, yesterday I was watching myself, I'm like, my breaks are so willy-nilly. I say I'm going to take a break, and then I'm back on like 30 seconds later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually set timers. So I'm just going to set a 5-minute break and hang out with you guys. We're on 5 minutes. In the meantime, you can take in these faces. Oh, and let me set that other Mika face off to the side so you can see just where we started from. And I'll do some commentary on it too to see kind of what worked well, what I would continue to change. That type of stuff. But 5 minutes of my undivided attention and yogurt eating starts now. Have I abandoned Clip Studio Paint Dragon Fist? No, I haven't. I'm just more familiar with Photoshop. Dominate Sim, do I stream on Twitch? No. Will I be releasing a Made of Metal art book? Chuck Oxygen Tanks? Yes. Who's my favorite artist? Pie Flavor? Yes. My favorite artists are all on Instagram. There's too many to name. But anybody... Okay, you want to know who my favorite artists are? Anybody who's doing original properties. People that are creating original characters, as well as fan art. I don't mind fan art, but I love it when people can take what they've learned from doing fan art, take what they've learned from studying other people's successful properties, and create their own. Is that Greek yogurt? Yep, it is Faye. Faye. Or Phage. Don't call it Phage. It's Faye. It even says it on the side. Okay, I actually got to show you this. I think it's funny that they put this on the packaging. If you can even read that. It's pronounced Faye. So yeah, now you can sound smart to all your yogurt friends. Ufian, thoughts on Ethan Becker's tutorial videos? They're great. Love the man. Michael V. Artist. Can't draw other people's characters anymore? Doesn't feel right. Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. I like drawing other people's characters to like relax from drawing my own. But if I had it my way, I'd be drawing these characters all day, every day. What is currently an area that I struggle to draw, Baby J? I mean, I struggle with everything. I mean, you can even see drawing my own characters. It's like I struggle with drawing their faces, getting them looking right. But I know the tools that I need to get them looking proper. This is where we started. See that Mika face right here? This thing sucks. See this right here? That thing sucks. But I can draw something like that and be like, and I'll do stuff in my sketchbook too. Check it out. I'll mess up constantly in my sketchbook. But this is a great place to make mistakes. I like to work straight with pen. And I'll do, I know it's like really hard to see, but I use like a 0.05, like the thinnest pen I can possibly muster. And I'll do stuff like that. And I'll look at those faces and I'll be like, man, those look like crap. But that's okay. Like, I think a place that I struggle with is allowing myself to mess up. I think a lot of artists struggle with this. Here's some more. See, very sketchy. But again, just trying to get those eyeballs and everything lined up so that way I can get those proportions. I know where I'm trying to get to. And hopefully with these tools that I just showed you, you guys know too. See, here's another one. Also playing around with, see that one on the side there? That's Mika with her eyes open. Like, what does she look like when her eyes are really open? And just trying to simplify that style into like more of an animation style. So that's an area that I struggle in. Just being willing to move forward and know that you're going to make mistakes. But then having the tools necessary to fix those mistakes. I think it's really nice. Hearth Ale, goals for my project, something big that I'm currently working on, possibly an anime movie, a Mika and Moka. Yes, I am working on an anime. It is going to be an anime. And my goals are that everybody sees it. Everybody sees it and likes it and they're inspired. If I can inspire people with my anime, I will consider my life a success. I already consider it a success. Since I've been teaching since what, 2011, almost 10 years. I've taught people, they've gotten out and gotten jobs for themselves. You know, these are employable skills that I have helped people to, I'm not saying I take full credit, but I've definitely helped people get started on their journeys. And that's all I really ever wanted to do. So now that I've done that, I consider my life a success. Now I'm just doing this for fun. Now I'm just like, hey, what's left? There's our timer. There's our timer. And I think it's time, speaking of that, guys, I showed this yesterday, but I want to show you as well. Since that VOD will not be airing, I want to show you the theme song that I've got going for this anime. So, yeah, I'm going to do that whilst it'll only take a minute, so let me just go ahead and play it for you guys. So I'm going to play the original composition that I made, and I composed this in Fruity Loops, but it's going to be loud, so don't listen yet. Okay, that's actually perfect. Okay, so here's the original composition that I made. Sat down at the piano, I came up with a bunch of different chords, melodies, all these structures, put them all together, made a song. I composed it in Fruity Loops, FL Studio. There's a ton of really awesome tutorials. If any of you are interested in getting into music, I'm here to tell you that it's not as hard as you think, and it can be a lot of fun. So let me just play you this, and then I'll show you. This is the original composition, and then I'll show you the final version. So here you go. Oh yeah, and while I do that, okay. Is Fruity Loops free? Free if you know where to look? Yeah, everything's free if you know where to look, especially if it's software. But I purchased mine legally, and I would suggest you do too, because the latest version actually is very nice, or at least download the latest version. So yeah, right now what I'm doing is, I hope you like that, by the way. I'm looking at these Moka faces and just paying attention to what I like about them and what I need to bring over, because that one was pretty close. This is probably my favorite Moka face to date. So I'm going to make sure that I have this. This is going to be on the other screen, just so you know what I'm referencing. Or I could show you how I do this. No, actually, I'll show you how I do this. So this is the little snip and sketch on Windows. So what I like to do is I just go New, select, anything that I want as a reference, and then just go, boom, copy right there. Close that crap out. Close that crap out. And then you just go into here, Control V. Boom, there's your reference. I'll just move that off to the side. I will be referencing that face because I really like it. So there's the early version. Here's the final version. This was arranged, mixed, mastered by Franz Soto, same person that did the Moka outro. You guys remember this? Hopefully that's not too loud. Let me see. What's the frickin'... So yeah, same person that did that, he helped me with, didn't help me, he just freaking took this and ran with it, blasted it to the moon. Here's the final version. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the thing with Franz Soto is like, it's hard to get blown away more, I don't know how to explain this. It's like, it's amazing, and that's just what I expect now. So Franz Soto sent that over, and I was like, yeah, it sounds perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm humbled for the rest of the day that you would want to work with me. And yeah, but it's just like, I'm amazed, and I expect to be amazed. So that is going to be the theme song. And I'll play it a couple more times as we're working. But for the meantime, let's throw on the nice, lovely jazz in the background. And let's get back to painting this Mika face, or Moka face. The name of the music, it's just the Made of Metal theme song. It's just going to be the Made of Metal theme song. And it is going to be released alongside this artwork. All right, so here's basically what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm doing now with this. I'm going to move this face like right over next to this one because I'm trying to capture both this and this. These faces I really like of Moka. And similar to what we did with Mika-san right here, see how we brought her from this piece of trash over to here, like this cute, nicely proportioned face? We had a reference that we liked, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So I already know that the proportions are close on this. So we're not going to need to do that much, luckily. But I just went ahead and lightened up her lip. I want to add a little bit more vibrancy to her lip. Moka's lips are a puzzle in themselves because there's just so much subtlety in, well, there's just subtlety in all characters' faces. And it's something that I've come to really enjoy and love. I love how much subtlety can be in a character's face. Just makes me really happy. So for those of you who want to make luscious lips, here's how you do it. You put a shine right there, shine on right there, shine on right there. And with darker skin, you can get away with bright highlights because they're much more reflective, right? Much like my skin. See how my skin is tan and you can see that really strong highlight on my forehead? Not only because I'm greasy, but it's also because of my darker skin. So yeah, highlights on darker skin can be slightly brighter. And it will look natural still somewhat. So I'm just going through here and adding in some lights, seeing if I like, seeing if I'm liking it. And here's my secret weapon for girls' faces. My secret weapon. Are you ready? First thing you want to do is get into those cheeks. Saturate. Saturate, push them towards red, add some red into those cheeks. Pronto. Add some red into that nose. Pronto. Okay, already much cuter looking. Here's secret weapon number 2, soft brush. Soft brush yourself, create a new layer. And what I'm going to end up doing, I think I'm just going to blend these cheeks and redraw in those lines. Ideal? No. But will it give us good results? You bet your bottom dollar. Just want to blend this whole area. I want to soften this whole area. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm keeping in mind where her nose is. I'm going to soften this bridge part right here. Kind of like what I did with Mika. So she's got that shadow indicating that her nose is going down towards her eye. It's a really important shadow. And I'd say it's imperative when you're doing sort of like this, what do you call it, like fusion style? Yeah, it's like a fusion style between anime and like 3D. And it's really got me interested. In my ideal world, if I could make Made of Metal into a feature-length film, I would probably want to do it in 3D. I just recently watched Dragon Quest on Netflix, and the style that they do their characters in, it's absolutely amazing. However, I have noticed that as you start doing more realistic anime faces, mouth flaps become an issue. You can't do mouth flaps in 3D, at least as far as I've understood. You can get away with it in 2D, but I don't think it's possible in 3D. Or it looks janky. It looks, something about it just seems off. It's like uncanny. Because everything else looks realistic, hyper-real materials, the skin looks like real skin, and then you have the characters flapping their mouths like this, you know? Just wouldn't look right. Hearth Ale. The underlip of Moka is shown quite clearly as opposed to Mika's lips. Yeah, I did. And that is a conscious choice. I love how on darker skin, sometimes the lips, they're actually a lighter value. the lips are a lighter value than the skin tone. And I just think that's really cool. And I wanted to highlight that on Moka. Yeah, I think it looks really, really adorable. And if you have lips like that, know that, yeah, I like it. I like it, and you should be proud of your lips. No matter what kind of lips you got, you should be proud of them. I used to hate my lips. I used to think they were big and stupid. But then my mom was like seriously, look at these things. Look at the profile. I used to look at these things. I thought they looked dopey. But then my mom said, it's like, oh, Keenan, people pay like thousands of dollars to get freaking collagen injections to have lips like that. And I was like, really? And I was like, wow. My lips have monetary value? Okay, well, that makes me feel a little bit better. So yeah, soft brush. See what I'm doing here? Soft brushing on the face. Off, on. Off, on. So it's like this really interesting mixture of, you're like flattening the face. You're flattening the face, but there's still subtle details in there. And that stuff really gets me going. So I'm going to paint this Mocha face for a little bit, and then we'll take another 5-minute break shortly. I'm looking at this smile. And now is a good chance for us to flip the canvas. Let's take a look at how we've done so far. So far, I'm digging this. I'm looking here. There's like, this is where I'll go in with my hard brush, and I'll start making some hard cuts. So it's like, I know that more of the nose needs to be visible right here. Mocha has a wider nose. So yeah, that looks nice. Looks really, really nice. And I'll just kind of soften it, right? When in doubt, soften things. Keep those planes there, but just soften them. And you might be surprised how awesome. You can add as much detail to a face as you want, but with girls and just, I think in general, I think low contrast is the key. Low contrast is truly the key. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, now what I'm seeing here is that there's a plane change that happens right there. And I need to make sure that that is showing properly. So I'm going to darken this area. We're going to get one of these, okay? So now we have this, which is showing the proper plane changes, but now we need to soften it. So let's get in there. Let's grab that color. Soften away. Soften away. So it's just barely visible. Here's the muzzle. Let's make sure we highlight that muzzle, especially when she's smiling. So when you smile, right, pulls your cheek up. So we want to make sure that we show just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit of that cheek being compressed, right? Again, watch. It's all about contrast. If I were to do this, see how that looks like it's a huge dimple? Not exactly what we're looking for. We do want a dimple, but we want it to be subtle. Subtle. And I want just a little bit more teeth happening in here. So I'm going to try a couple things. We're on a separate layer here. Or we're not yet, but now we are. Now we're on a separate layer, and I'm going to play around with a couple dimples. Dimple along with me, people. Dimple with me. So I'm thinking about, yeah, how is that skin compressing? And then soften. Soften away that dimple. See, just a tiny bit. Tiny bit goes a long way. Add some more redness in there. Looking good. Looking really good. Now, the other thing that comes to my mind is I kind of want to change the smile in general. The smile to me is not reading properly, and I think it's because it's too far back. So, it's time for Mocha to go under the knife. My personal favorite thing. So, this is where I hit Shift-Control-E. I've just flattened everything, right? See how I've got a completely flat canvas? I'm going to select what part of her face I want to mess around with. So in this case, the mouth, like that. Hit Control-J. Now check it out. I've got that mouth on its own layer, and now I can move it around slightly. This is where I talk about pixels making a big difference. So I can use the arrow keys to just put it into position. And if I want to check where it was before, just click your little eyeball. So that's where it was, that's where it is now. See if there's a better spot that just feels good to you. Okay? Karim Bier, give you some tutorials on line sculpting. I will in the future, but right now I'm giving a tutorial on plastic surgery. Okay, so pay attention, because I'd say this is infinitely more important than line sculpting. So that's looking pretty good to me there. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. And here's the thing that personally I wanted to see with this smile is I feel like that lower lip maybe could come up a tad bit. So let's go ahead and raise that lower lip. Yeah, and then this upper lip, I kind of want to raise this up. Yeah, that looks pretty okay. Playing around with a couple things here. And compare, contrast. Compare, contrast. Yep, I think that's a winner. It's feeling like a winner to me. Cool. And now I am going to kind of just clean this up real quick. Cool. When it comes to noses, here's how I personally like to do it. I like to make them subtle, like this. And then usually I like to make the underside of the nose a little bit lighter, because think about it. It's like there's reflected light usually going there, and most of the occlusion is going to be happening where the nose meets the muzzle. So rather your darkest values, not all the time, but more often than not, I find it looks best to just have your darkest values be right in here. Right there, where the nose is meeting the muzzle. And then allow the bottom of the nose to be a slightly lighter value. I always find that that looks really nice. You picking up what I'm putting down? I hope so. Now for this side of the mouth. I want to fix this up just a little bit more. I feel like this mouth maybe needs to get pulled a little bit more to the side. Either that or it needs to drop down. Yeah, I'm going to try dropping it down actually. Because I want to show the fullness of that lip in there. So maybe something more like this would look good. Looking pretty good. But see, I'll sit here for hours doing this, guys. Or maybe not hours, but I'll sit here for a good chunk of time just kind of dialing in exactly what I want that character's expression to be. Because see how that smile is different from that smile? They're saying different things about the character. Isn't that cool? So I'm always looking back as to where I've come from, and sometimes I'll do something like this, and then I'll go back and I'll be like, oh, I like that one more. And then I'll just throw that one out the window. That was an experiment that just didn't work out. And that's totally fine. It's totally fine. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm zooming out. And you know what I'm saying? I don't like it. I think this one might be an out the window. This one might be an out the window. Yeah, I like the simplicity of that one. So let's just hide that image for right now, or hide that layer. Let's go ahead and move to a different part of the face. Because another thing that I found is it's good to not get bogged down. It's good to not get bogged down in one part of the piece. You find yourself getting stuck, move on to the rest. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. So we're going to move over to the cheeks, and we're going to make sure we got the cheeks with enough volume. Do the cheeks have enough volume? That's what we're asking ourselves. Oh yeah, we're going to put those lines back in too. I'll make them red. There we go. Maybe whatever color that was. So she has a little bit there. She has a little bit there. Maybe like a tiny little one there. Oh yeah, perfect. Perfect. Because yeah, Mocha's more like battle hardened, you know? Mocha's got some little scratches and stuff on her face. She's more battle hardened. Whereas Mika, she just has like those 2 little freckles or whatever those are. They're kind of like Midoriya's little markings. Midoriya has those 2 lines on his cheeks too. So that's what I always think about. And I love My Hero Academia, so if it's a subtle My Hero Academia reference, then I am okay with that. I am 100% A-okay with that. So as you can see now, what I'm doing is just sculpting things into place. I'm playing around with, okay, what would it look like if her cheek was kind of shaved in a little bit? Do I like that with her cheek in, or do I like it more out? I think maybe a little bit of both. So I'll kind of do one of these, where it goes out, but then it comes back in. I think that's a win for sure. Subtlety in faces. Subtlety in places. You must have subtlety. Subtlety is very important. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can feel a break coming on. Can you? Feel a little breaky wakey coming on. Oh, whatever I just did to those teeth made them look a lot better. That looks awesome. So let's see how far we've come. Okay, is that where we started? No, we started even further back. All right, so this is a good chance for us. I just merged all of my paint over layers. Or I merged a lot of them anyway. There we go. I merged a ton of them. So now you can see, oh, okay. Here's what's happening. So see how we push the nose back? That brow, or rather the bridge of the nose is going back. Pay attention to what's happening to your character and ask yourself if it is an improvement or a loss. So far what I'm seeing is good. These are all good changes. I like that little bit of extra space that we added in for that mouth and the cheek to be raised. Another thing I might end up doing is to really sell your smiles. See what I did on this Mocha piece right here? How her bottom eyelids are raised just a little bit. I'm going to do that too, just to show you guys what it does. So let's create a new layer. And let's raise this. Let's raise this one too. I'm going to raise it up like right about there. See, as I raise these eyelids, see what has just a little bit more genuineness to it? See that? That's how you make a genuine smile, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. All right, it's time for a break. 5 minutes on the clock. I'm liking the way this stream is going much better already. Nordic Metalhead? Oh yeah, rendering can feel like an endless process. How do I determine when I'm done? Usually, I catch myself now when I'm over-rendering. And the way that you do that is just by what I showed you. I double-click off where you were, where you started, and then check your renders. If your renders are pulling away from what your original thing was, then you know you're over-rendering. You're changing things too much. And you got to be careful with this one too, because your eyes are fooling you. You need to know that your eyes are seeing things slightly different from what is actually there. I wish it wasn't the case, but our minds just kind of operate that way. So the best thing that you can do to combat that is take breaks and flip the canvas. Flipping the canvas gives you a fresh state of mind for just a few precious seconds. You can gaze upon your drawing as though it was fresh, as though you were somebody walking in from off the street. And I look at that, and it makes me smile. So we are on a good track. Tiny change, big difference. Yep, that's right, Dank Lulu. Oh, Dank Lulu. Does that take a deep knowledge of all the fine muscles on the face? A little bit, but to be honest, you can just study from reference. Look at expressions. Get a mirror. You know, animators do this all the time. It's like, see when I smile? My girlfriend always used to say this. She's like, you smile terribly in pictures. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm smiling big. And I'd smile like this. Right? And she's like, no, you got to smile with your eyes. And I'm like, oh yeah, when I smile, I actually like do this. Like, see how the muscles are contracting in my cheeks and pushing my bottom eyelids up. So it's the difference between this and this. See? When you really laugh, you kind of squint your eyes a little bit. So just paying attention. It's less about knowing the muscles of the face and just more understanding reference. Muscle of the face definitely helps, but I don't think it's necessary for this stuff, at least not on a general level. Canvas size is 12 by 12 at 200 DPI. We sacrifice some DPI. Ideally, I like to work at 300. But Squires, no, it had nothing to do with XSplit. It was just Windows and Photoshop, and yeah, I just needed to fiddle around with some settings on there to get it working better. And yeah, it's working. It's still not 100%, but it's like 95%. A million times better than what it was yesterday. Here we get some yeets. Yeet! There you go. That's a free yeet for you. That's how much I love you, Mr. Armando Guajardo. You're welcome, Dank Lulu. Oh, you think I look handsome with my glasses off? Thank you, Dane Sworddash. Here, I'll take them off again for you. See? You can see the scar that's left from years of wearing glasses on my nose. Yeah, what do you think? I used to wear contacts. I like the contacts particularly that would change my eyes to green, because I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I look like an alter ego. I look like an alternate version of myself. Made me feel kind of feisty. Made me feel kind of devious. And I like that feeling. Does DPI really matter when not doing printouts? It's just, think about it. It's just another way of determining size. So I could do 12 by 12 at 72 DPI, and it's going to be a smaller canvas, smaller resolution. I say 300 just because I like to think about prints. It's like if I were to print this out, I'd want it to look good if I wanted to do a 12 by 12. You know? The canvas size doesn't necessarily matter. It's more so what you're planning to do with it afterwards. Yeah, contacts suck for using PC. I agree. Ixao. Hello, little kitty and Nakula. I like your little cat that you put in there. 304 Renegade. You wear Baja hoodies? You think there may be a source of some artistic power? Yeah, the drug rug. I know, I love these things. Oh. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at that Moka face, and it's making me smile. I'm looking at that Moka face, making me smile big time. There's our timer. 5-minute break has concluded. Let's go ahead and merge all of our, or at least group all of our paint overs, and I'm going to just turn them on and off. So you can see I'm flipping back and forth between where we started. You can see how Moka's eyelids are raising just a tiny bit. Her mouth, her smile just went a little bit higher. Mika's eyes got pushed a little bit further, so it looks like she actually has a skeletal structure. Overall, I'm digging this. However, there is something in Moka's original face that I liked. And here is where the fun begins. Here's where the fun begins. Because in my original drawing, do you see that line right there? That was indicating a plane that I really liked. There was a value happening there. And I like this sort of shallower nose that she has right there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this over paint layer, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to actually start erasing. This is the other part of my overpaint process, is I look back at where I started, and sometimes I'll find details that I actually liked more. And there was a line there, and there was a plane there. And maybe a little bit shallower nose, like right there, maybe there, maybe there. So I'm just kind of like pulling it back, and I'm hitting Control Z to kind of ask myself, is it there? Do I want that? And I'm kind of digging that one right there. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll go back in, and now I'll just kind of paint that plane as it was, and just kind of get rid of those lines to see if that was really what was tickling my fancy. And the question will be answered quite quickly. I think that was it. Yeah, I just like that plane right there. It just feels really nice to have that shininess right there on the nose. Feels really good because that is actually happening. That does happen on faces, and I'll show you. So take a look on my face. See, as I turn to the side, there's a light there. Shades just a little bit on my cheek, and then right in here, there's like a pocket where you capture a bunch of light. That's what's happening on Moka's face there. There's dark value there on the nose as it's coming back out. So yeah, I put that there for a reason, and I like it there. So feels good, looks good. We're gonna call it good. By the way, I hope you're liking the spiritual music. This is very relaxing to me. Today's live stream will not be going as long. That's the other thing I promised myself. Is I do love streaming for you guys, but I just want to show you guys a part of my process, like kind of where I'm at. But nothing beats being able to work. Like, I'm most efficient when I can just work on my own. When I'm not having, as much as I love explaining everything that I'm doing, sometimes I just get into this zone where I don't have to explain, and I can just go and go and go. But in the meantime, I will continue practicing, yeah, like I said, being able to explain and work at the same time. But yeah, today's stream I'm thinking will be about, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. We've been going for 1 hour, so let's go for another hour, and then we'll call it good. Hope you guys are understanding of that, and thank you so much for being here today. Can I explain why I'm so handsome? Yep, my mother and my father. That's why I'm so handsome. That, and I condition my hair properly. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that face. Very happy with that face. Turn it on, turn it off. On, off, on. Yep, yep. That is 100% the face I was looking for. That is 100% the face I was going for. Let me try something like that. I will be taking another break shortly. Probably going to do a quick bio break, if you guys don't mind. Because I've been not only eating my yogis. Oh, yeah, I need some more yogis. But, been drinking a lot of water. I can see something. See that chin on that Moka face? It goes further back. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and change that up a little bit. We're going to move that chin back. Chin back. And we can go ahead and just paint. At this point, we're in overpaint, so I can literally just grab any color and begin painting it. This is really fun. This is another reason why I don't do clean lines. It's because I end up just painting over everything anyway. So there's no point for me. So I'm just going to kind of pull that chin back and see if that creates a more appealing looking face. Let's see. How does that look? You know, I don't know if I'm completely sold on it. Oh, wait. You know what? I like the slightly stronger chin. I feel like it's fitting for Moka. So let's kind of bring it halfway back. Yeah, that's what we wanted right there. So see how I did that? I pulled the chin back and then erased it slowly back out to where it used to be and kind of found a happy medium. So there it was before, there it is now. Pixels, pixels, ladies and gentlemen. Your world revolves around pixels, and pixels can make the difference between a cute face, a cute waifu, and a hideous waifu, as we have learned today, okay? I'm going to ask you, class, what did we learn today? Pixels matter. That's the part where you'd all pipe in and say that, okay? I'll be asking at the end. In fact, I want to see that in the chat at the end of the stream. I'm asking, what did we learn today? In fact, let's just do a test run, okay? What did we learn today, class? I'm going to pull up that chat in about 30 seconds. I want to see some answers. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm just going in there and I'm beginning to shade because I've got colors that I like already down. And here you go. What did we learn today, class? You guys are probably going to put all kinds of naughty things in there. Yes, pixels matter. Oxygenate your waifus. Yes. Give your waifus nostrils, please. Please. Especially once you start rendering them. If they're just super simple, right? Even in this one over here, she still has nostrils. But like if you're going to render your waifus, if you want to do it kind of like what I'm doing here, then you'll start to notice. There's going to be a point when you're like, something feels off. And I'll bet you it's because they don't have nostrils. Everything in your mind is saying, this poor waifu. Poor waifu needs to breathe. And she can't. She can't because you didn't give her the proper breathing apparatus. And I want you to reflect upon that. Just think about how that makes you feel. And if you're like me, you don't want your waifus to suffer. You want them to be beautiful and keep breathing forever. How is that happening? Boom. There we go. All right. I think that is a huge, huge win for us. That was a huge win that we were able to do that on stream. Usually that's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough one. But we frickin' did it. I'm going to even kick it up another notch. I'm going to reinforce that plane because I really liked it. Yeah, I really, really like that plane. See how just satisfying that is to have that there? Kick up the contrast on that. And then also, yeah, we're going to soften. When in doubt, get in there, soften. Blend your foundation. Blend that foundation. Yeah, that one looks much better. Oxygenate your waifus. Whoever said that, thank you for that. That's I'm going to think about that for the rest of the day. Oxygenate! You know, I've had enough of this cute mocha face. Let's go on to... The reason why I start with my faces, by the way, is because once the face is done, oh, you can breathe a sigh of relief because the rest of the piece is going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be a cakewalk. And I'm looking at that face and I'm smiling. Smiling big. Yeah, oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Paint over's off, paint over's on. Paint over's off, paint over's on. So we just kind of like tightened that face up. It's like everything feels just that much more believable. It's good. So once you get to this point, breathe a sigh of relief, as I said, because the rest of the piece is a cakewalk. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to go OP3. I'm just going to call it OP3. And then I'm going to show you my process for how I go about finishing, you know. Once I get it to this point, let's start with like this buckle, this belt buckle down here, because there's a variety of different materials here. But before we get into that, let's take a break. Let's take a break and reflect upon what we have learned today with this beautiful spiritual music. Let's reflect upon everything that we've learned. And then we'll come back and render. I'll show you my precise rendering style. Break time, 5 minutes on the clock. And yeah, we can show all the faces as well as that belt. Yeah, there we go. So another thing, as you guys will notice, Xavier, pretty pixels make pretty waifus. Thank you for saying that. Yes, I would agree. Pretty pixels do make pretty waffles. Waifus. Yeah, pixels make a big difference. But it's more so, yeah, understanding that making... Okay, because remember this Moka mouth? Remember this thing? Oh, wait, is that even still there? Oh, I think we may have deleted that. Is it here? Oh, there we go. There's the old Moka mouth. Yeah, that's old Moka mouth. That's old. We don't need that. Let's delete that. But yeah, see the old Moka mouth? Notice how it does give her a little bit more volume on the muzzle, and that might be a win. There might be something that we can do there. In fact, sometimes in cases like this, I'll do this. So I'll just go ahead and create a mask like this. I click this button way at the bottom. Way at the bottom. See that right there? It looks like a thing with a hole punched in it. Set this thing to soft. And then maybe try to get a little bit of both worlds. Maybe like that. Because that's a cute mouth too. It's quite cute. Add some additional volume in there. But again, that's just one of many mouths that we can do. I'm on break right now. Doesn't a wide smile pull back the jaw? No, not necessarily. No, because like you can pay attention to your own face. If I smile, the only thing that's happening is my cheeks are engaging. The muscles are engaging, but my jaw is not moving forward like this. Jaw is going forward here and then back. But my teeth are locked. My teeth are locked in a smile, so my jaw technically doesn't move. Yeah, that's my personal thoughts on that. Yes, I was supposed to be on break. Thank you for reminding me, Kimberly. What do I do if I'm working on a drawing for hours and hours, but it never looks right? Mystic, welcome to my world. The secret is layers. That's your secret. That's your secret weapon. Try things. If it doesn't look right, then try something. Like we did with the eyes. Remember how I said, oh, I want this smile to feel a little bit more genuine. So what did we do? See where the eyes were? See, she's basically doing that smile that I was talking about. She's smiling, but her eyes are open too far. As soon as I just move those eyelids up a tad bit, immediately it looks more genuine. And the same thing can be said with whatever is bothering you in your piece. You can change values, you can change lighting, you can change expressions. Just create new layers and compare and contrast. Also bear in mind the amount of time that you've spent in the piece. Think about yourself as entering a dimension. The longer you spend there, the less you're seeing things properly. You will be kind of hypnotized after working on a drawing, staring at a face for as little as an hour. So make sure you're flipping the canvas, taking breaks, and know when to call it good. If you're having trouble on a face, move on to something else. In this case, we're going to move down to this belt. And yeah, move to a different part of the piece, call it a day, start something else. Or find a reference. Find a reference of somebody that's doing it properly. That's why I got these references. It's like, I like the character that's in that face there, and I like the character there. So I'm trying to capture that. That's my best advice to you. Alright, let's see here. Hi, Edwin, I'm the best waifu. Thank you. I appreciate it. I do have the waifu hair. It's very pretty. 8-Bit Sans. Talking about spiritual music. Do you ever listen to lo-fi? Oh, yeah. I listen to lo-fi, and I love Japanese lo-fi. Yeah, absolutely. I would play it on here, but this is all no copyright stuff, so that way I can run ads and make money off of you. Ha! 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 Give me those pennies. Give me those YouTube pennies. You are sending me pennies right now, and you don't even know it. That's our timer. How long for drawing and break? I like to take longer breaks. I'm just taking 5-minute breaks on stream because I don't want you guys to have to sit around and wait forever. But yeah, I'll end my questionnaire session by answering Usagi. They're saying how to steal art for ref. I've done a complete episode on stealing art. These two pieces right here, they could just as easily be somebody else's. In fact, I have a picture over here by Max Grek. Really nice lighting. I love how Max has these cartoony proportions, but then he lights it as though it was like really lit by a 3D program. Really love all the subtlety that's happening with like this ambient. There's like ambient light, and there's this nice blue rim light that's kind of going across the top of this character. Everything just feels really pleasing to look at. I love the planes. Remember I was talking about planes? See how I can see that plane on Mocha's nose? Same thing's happening with all the planes in Max's work. So yeah, it's very inspiring. So I'd say to steal work, all you have to do is pay attention to the principles that are at work. Pay attention to principles. You're stealing principles and ideas. And you can copy. In fact, I am going to dedicate another future show to directly copying someone's tutorial for a subject that I'm terrible at, landscapes. I'm terrible at environment art, and I want to learn. I want to learn more. And the way that I'm going to do that in the quickest fashion possible is to just take something that already exists and I'm going to try to replicate it. And I'm going to show all of you how I would go about doing that on a future date. So going into this belt buckle, the first thing you're going to start seeing me do is immediately start separating planes. So I'm like, this plane right here is completely different in its lighting. That is reflecting. See where that's reflecting? It's reflecting that. Reflecting our ambient color. But see how it's not that perfect blue? This is our ambient color. This is the gold color. Because it's interacting with gold, and gold itself has a color, it's going to darken and desaturate. Okay? Meaning that the color that gets represented is closer to that. And you can have a shine in there that's like 100% what the light is, but again, keep it subtle. And try it in a couple different places. I'd say like right there looks fine. See, now all of a sudden that belt buckle feels metallic. It feels metallic, and it's just because of the way it's interacting with the light. That's the only difference between, you know, materials, cloth, metal. It's all how it's interacting with light and the environment around it. So on that note, let's go ahead and continue. Go ahead and paint this in. Yeah, that's looking good. And then this, I originally had this reflecting green, but you know what this would actually be reflecting? I think that it would be reflecting some more of this red. So I'm going to introduce a little bit more of this red into this. And again, remember what we said? It's going to interact with the gold. It's going to darken, desaturate. So actually the color that we're going to see might be closer to this. Maybe a little bit more saturation. And throw in just a little bit of that color. A little bit of that color just to kind of set it off. Looks pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And again, the color doesn't have to be exact. It's just like, give the viewer some information to say, oh, something interesting is happening there. And then the viewer themselves can solve the puzzle. Because I could have kept it green and it still looked nice. But red looks even better. And it keeps it in the mocha flavor. Because mocha's colors are red, gold, and white. Versus Mika's are pink, green, and brown. Still not 100% set on these colors for Mika. Something about her is throwing me off, but I can't fully understand what it is. I'll rest assured, I will figure it out, though. I'll figure it out. Okay, so we're just coloring a few things in. So there you go. Overpaint's on, overpaint's off. Overpaint's on, overpaint's off. We're getting closer. Getting closer. You guys are awesome. Okay, now speaking of reflected stuff, we have reflected light that's going to be affecting these little fur bits. These furry bits. So let's get some of that in there. Okay. Ah! Aha! And see how it fades to blue? Fades to blue because now there's less red light interacting here, and now we're getting more of the skylight on these shadows. So see how we're painting shadows, but we're considering how secondary light sources are affecting our objects. And that's where your art really starts to take a turn for not the worse, but the better. Start feeling more confident, feeling happy, feeling really good. In fact, because these are fur, you see how these planes, this feels like the fur is like flat. But we want to kind of, we want to make it a little bit more like hair. So in order to make it look like hair, we need to consider bands of light. So the band of light that's going to go through this fur is going to look like this. And just like that, you have rounded fur. Not perfect, but good enough. And it's glossy too. See how glossy it is? Maybe we don't want the fur to be that glossy. And here's how you do that. Here's how you fix that. You'll fix it by softening it. So go to your soft brush and then grab this. And what you want to do is lower the opacity on this. Or not lower the opacity, lower the contrast. So let's go ahead and kind of spread that out a little bit. You make things look glossy by having sharp highlights. But as you do this, it just automatically begins to soften. It's still glossy, but now it's just a little bit more softened. And I like that look. I like that look. I think that's exactly what I want for the fur in this. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just do this, but just keep that shine low contrast. See that? Boom, easy peasy. I'm gonna add in a little bit. Oftentimes I'll eye drop like, ooh, that purple looks nice. I want to add that into my current colors. Found that makes things look really nice when you start grabbing colors from other parts of your piece and mixing them in elsewhere. Really nice way to start getting a natural looking color palette. And then for here, I'm gonna make this nice and dark. Because right here, we are going into shadow. Not much light is going to be making it into this part of the fur. There we go. See, very nice, no? Very nice, no? Coloring outlines. Yeah, coloring outlines is where it's at. Because that's the difference between... I mean, see how all of these lines are... Oh, here's what the difference is. So see how all of the lines are colored black? And this is kind of where we were at yesterday. All of the colors are flat and the lines are black. But as soon as you start coloring lines... See from here to here... I've colored a lot of lines, and as well as we're adding in a bunch of details. But you can see, when you squint your eyes, here's the test. Squint your eyes, and you can see that all the information is still there. They still have those simple faces, but now there's low contrast details, such as, oh, the cast shadow from her hair. The cast shadow from the hair, but see how it's low contrast. That is how you make interesting pieces. How you make interesting pieces. At least in my style. Do not steal. There's a million other ways to do it, but see, my style is sort of like a mixture between, I like to think of it as being efficient because I have what's called, like I'm not loyal to my pieces at all. Like I'll be working on a piece and halfway through, it's like, I just got the idea for a new one. And I'll immediately want to just throw this one away. I'm going to throw it in the bin and start it on a new piece. So because of that, I needed to develop a style where I could move quickly. I want to be able to just get stuff done. I don't want to sit there forever and do some line art, and then at the end, my line art, I look at the face again. I'm like, oh, the face doesn't even look right. I need to then I have to re-line art the face. It's like, nah, let's just get it close enough. So you can see this is my line art. See how it's just kind of like sketchy? It's kind of cleaned up, but it's not perfect by any means. That's because I'm going to be going in there and overpainting a lot of stuff anyway. And I like just kind of like the texture. I like the texture of brush strokes being still seen in my piece. And that's where I'm currently at. And then, yeah, I'll go through eventually and I'll be like, okay, let's lighten up all of these colors. I'm going to lighten up this outer edge because this is fur. So this should be really light along its edges. And then that right there, I'm like, ooh, that could be a fun shape. So I just turn that into a shape. And I go, boom. See? Speaking of shapes, let's get into that. Let's talk a little bit more about shapes because and a perfect place to demonstrate this is on both of the characters' boobs. So let's go ahead and create a new layer. Let's call it, creatively name it boobs. And we're going to go in there and I'm going to show you how we're going to take it from this to what I would call like my finished rendering style. And we already have colors to work with. We have the beginnings of shapes that we can work with. And I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in there and it's like, what do these shapes represent? These shapes represent folds. They represent folds. And you can highlight this by putting in some additional contrast in the areas where the folds are not. So let's say we want to have a little bit of extra contrast right there. A little bit of extra contrast right there. There is skylight. What's creating this blue? Again, think about your ambient lights. Ambient lights are coming in and they're lighting the top of the chest of these characters. Okay? So get in there and give me some freaking ambience. Okay? What's a guy got to do? What's a guy got to do to get some ambience? And now, watch. I'm taking that shape and I say, I like that shape. Let's preserve that. Let's preserve that shape. And just like that. See? Now you have interesting relationships going on. Interesting relationships. This needs to be purple because that is supposed to be red. So the color we're going to be seeing there is more so like that. Yeah! I like it. I like it. I'll take some more questions in just a moment. But please allow me to be in my boob zone. This is a very important place for me. So see, see how I'm preserving those shapes, and then I'm asking myself, okay, how can I build off of that? Ooh, here's something we can do. I want a little bit of underlighting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this color. I'm going to put a little bit of that on the underside. Okay? Because there is reflected light. Reflected light is a great way to show depth. So where else is that reflected light going to go? It's going to go right there. Cool. And then what I'll do is sometimes I'll kind of take that shape and I'll kind of blend some color into it like that. Like that. Yes. And now look at what you've done. Take a close, hard look at what you've done. And I'm going to take a break and answer your questions about boobs. There you go. Boom, boom. Oh, it looks so shiny. See, that looks like nice shiny leather. From there to there. There to there. Go ahead and flip it. See all those cool relationships that are happening within there? And again, those folds aren't perfect, but it's like, it's at least interesting to look at. But we're not stopping there. We're not stopping there. There are 2 sets of boobs we need to fix in this. And I'm not fully happy with Moka's. So let's go ahead and add in a little bit more detail on these. A little extra bright highlight. Maybe something like this. Just add it in there. Like a little boop, like that. Ah! It's nice. Nice. And then, oh, this needs to begin going to shadow there as well. That needs to be both going to shadow, and here's the thing, is that your ambient light overtakes shadow. So you should naturally kind of have this movement of lightness here, then shadow, and then, not reflect light, ambient light. See that transition that's happening there? It's going to round that form, rounding that form. And we know how important it is for those forms to be round. Maybe that's what I'll do. It's like, I promised myself I would never do a stream without focusing on boobs. Because it's important. It's very, very important. Both guys and girls will agree. Okay, yeah, that's looking great. So see how we've got just a little bit more feeling going on in there. Oh yeah, I'm seeing some changes that definitely need to be made. So there was a shape that was in there earlier and we lost it. And it was this shape right there. That needs to be preserved. And our light is coming from the front, so we actually will see some additional light in this area, I think. I'm just going to try that out really quick. Looks pretty dang good to me. Whoops. I'm going to soften that right now. I don't want her boob going to that hard of a point there. It's not that cold out, Moka. Soften that up just a little bit. There we go. Put a little bit more of that shine right there. There we go. Love it. Love it. That's a win. So from there to there. There to there. Let's get started on Mika's chest. Mika's, I'm feeling already much more confident about. I think the shapes are already on point. Yeah, I feel like we don't even need to do much here. The only thing we need to do is draw in this skylighting that's happening right here. And draw in a nice hard shadow right there. I really like this music, by the way. This is perfect boob painting music. So yeah, see? Going towards darkness ever so slightly. Oh yeah, there needs to be darkness here too. And saturation. What the heck are we doing here? Let's get a little bit more saturation going in these leather pieces. There we go. And last but not least, let's go ahead and soften. See that? Doesn't that look really nice? See how there's a lot of there's a lot of volume in there, and it's all done by values. It's all done by values and lighting. In fact, that needs to go more like that. Looking much better. Much, much better. All right, guys, we're going to take a break here in a hot second. Breaks are coming. Yeah, 100 times better, million times better. Love it. And here's the thing. We can determine how, like, because I don't want that thing to be vacuum sealed on her chest, but I want a little bit of definition on there. Just a tiny bit of definition. But we could control it. We could make it even less, you know, form-factored, vacuum sealed by just lightening up this area. Okay, so watch what happens. If I do this and kind of push this across, see, now we have a much more subtle transition, which may be what you like. Still have that right there. See, now we still have that transition going on. But, okay, this is why I'm really glad we only did 2 hours of streaming today. Because Photoshop is once again acting up. It's making me a little bit sad. But it's all good. It's all good. So see? Couple different ways that we could handle this. But yes, in addition to nostrils, guys, please be aware that clothes don't always form factor seal to your character's bodies. They can, but not always. So that might be closer. I don't know. I like both of these. That one's pretty cute. See, that one's still subtle. This is what I like about it, is it's still subtle. You can see that indentation that's happening from the sky, but it's not like this. It doesn't have that line going through it. I don't think it needed to have that line. I think it's too much. But I'll play around with it. I will play around with it. Speaking of that, we are at 1 hour 35. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes, take a break, and then we'll do a couple more final touches. And then we're going to end today's stream. Save that out. Oh, man, it's getting hot in here, too. I can feel the heat finally kicking on. Oh, Hearth Ale, ever thought about implementing legging material? Probably not on their medieval clothes, because I don't think that was invented back then, but they have, like, current day costumes, and yeah, 100% they have leggings. They have leggings, they got stockings. It's a good time. And you're talking about using perspective and understanding good composition. Fascinated when people use perspective well. Yeah, I mean, I use perspective in this piece. I just dropped this grid on top of it. See how their bodies are like curving downward? See how when it gets to their legs, it looks like they're actually stretching down toward where would be the ground plane. And my technique for that is, yeah, just go onto Google, type in 5-point perspective. That's a really good place to get started because it's just like this giant circle. And then you can just adjust that to wherever you want. Just know that wherever the line is going through, wherever the line is straight, right through here, that's your horizon line. And the horizon line is very important because the horizon is where your eyes are. Basically, think of it as that's how tall you are. So my eyes are at the top of Mika's head. Moka's taller than me, and that is deliberately done because I wanted Moka to feel powerful. I wanted her to feel taller than the viewer. And that's all done by horizon line. Horizon line is where your eyes are. Curve perspective, it's just 5-point perspective. It's a 5-point perspective grid. Just drop it on there and have some fun. How do you follow the perspective grid? That's a whole nother tutorial that I'd have to give, but in general, let me show you. Let me show you the most important thing to consider, and that is ellipses. So see, as I'm looking here, see Moka's face is almost directly looking at me because this is my eye level. Remember? Horizon is my eyes. My eyes are here. Here. Mocha's taller than me. Mika is smaller than me. Therefore, she looks cuter. Okay? She's cuter, more vulnerable. And her face, see how it's already beginning to turn downward a little bit? She's already looking downward. But then as, see, the perspective starts turning downward, and now the ellipses, which can be seen in things like belts. See how this belt ellipse? Actually, Mocha's is not 100% on point, which means her body is leaning forward a little bit, which is okay. But most importantly, see how now that we're going here, we're going downward. The ellipse, which can be seen right here on Mika's little boot, if I were to draw that ellipse all the way through, see how now it's almost a perfect circle. So your ellipses are always going to follow the line of perspective. Basically the widest points of the ellipse. So here and here, here and here. And by the time you start getting up here, your ellipses are going to be looking like this. Right here, your ellipse would be almost a perfect circle. So that's how you draw in perspective. Think about your ellipses. Think about your cross sections. And you have plenty of chances to show cross sections and ellipses with armor, leggings, just anything. Lots of things can show ellipses. Okay, so that's my best advice to you. We're supposed to be on break. How dare you pull me off my break? Oh, good. I'm glad you finally get it now, Dink Lulu. Yeah, I probably just changed your entire life. Pledge on my Patreon when you are gainfully employed. Or if you already are, you better be pledging. Drawing stuff? I'm a cutie pie? Thank you. Thank you. I accept that. KNKL merch? Eventually. Eventually. I want to make KNKL merch. I want to make Made of Metal merch. All that stuff is coming. But I want to do it in my own way. And for me, it's like I want to have everything laid out. Because right now I have creative juices. I have creative juices flowing. I don't have business juices flowing. So I want to get all my creative juices out. And then when I have all of this content and stuff to make merch out of, then I can switch, put on the business hat and say, okay, I want to start selling this. I want to start making money so that way I can put bread on the table. But right now, it's like I don't want to spend a second doing that because every second that I have should be spent doing this. It needs to be spent doing this. It needs to be spent making music. Speaking of that, oh, I love this music, by the way. We're going to come back to that because I want to... Aw, Kid Ricoj. I'm going to show that because I don't think that the Streamlabs... Oh, it does! Woohoo! Kid Ricoj, along with your sticker. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat and the thank you. You're too kind. You guys. Whenever you super chat me, it makes my heart light up because I just want you guys to know that I don't take that lightly. Do not take it lightly. It just means the world that you would care enough to say thank you, not only with your words in the chat, but also with your hard-earned cash. And that's not easy to part with, especially right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I love you, Kid Ricoj. And I'm going to dedicate this song to you because we're going to listen to the Made of Metal theme song once again. Whenever I'm down, I just put this on and it hypes me up because I'm like, I'm almost there. I'm close to the finish line. I remember when I took off from my job about 7 months ago, and this song was nothing more than a dream. These characters were nothing more than a dream. And now today I sit before you and I can hear the music that was in my head. I can see the characters that were in my mind. And it just is a reminder to me that dreams are possible. Your visions are possible. Your artistic freedom is possible. And you guys should all be chasing that. You should never have to feel bad about wanting to express yourselves. And the stuff that's inside of you, you owe it to the world to bring it out. So that's my motivational stuff for the day. Listen to the Made of Metal theme song and enjoy yourself. I'm just going to keep painting. By the way, if anybody's an animator and can help me make that animated intro, just hit me up in Discord, because I'm looking for all the help I can get. Looking for all the help I can get with animating this, because I sure as hell ain't going to do it by myself. So in the meantime, that's why I'm creating this piece here, because I'm going to do it in the style of, you know, just like those, you know, those music videos on YouTube where it's just like a still of an anime girl and the camera's wiggling a little bit and there's like a little waveform in the side. That's all this is going to be. It's just going to be that to get started. And so I figured I should make a cute little marketing piece of Mika Moka. And they're very close to final forms. I'm very confident with these final costume designs. Feeling good about it. Aw. To you guys, inspiration to keep you going on your webcomic. That's awesome. And I salute you, my friend. Webcomics are not easy. Webcomics are not easy. It's made of metal, a show, webcomic, or a game. It's going to be everything. I'm going to make this into everything I can possibly make it into. But it's probably going to start as a art book. I've even like thought about doing like a written book where it's like, okay, you guys want to hear my full pitch? So it's going to start like this book that you would open up. I imagine it being like 10 inches by 10 inches. And it's leather bound, hardcover. It's got a really nice dust cover on it. And it just says made of metal. And then you open it and it's like this tome. I'd love to have like some calligraphic writing in there. And it'll basically detail the story. Like, there once was a girl named Moka. And then it like details this account of Moka. It's like her legend. It's the legend of Moka. And this whole time, it's like, tells the story of Moka and Mika. And then along the way, as you're going through, it's like a couple pages of text. You're reading the story, and then there will be an illustration to go along with it. Then you read a couple more pages of text. There's more illustrations. That's the quickest way that I can get the book out and get the story told to get started. And then from there, once the story is told, now I can start making a manga. Story's done. Now I'll just illustrate everything. And that's the manga. And from the manga goes to the full anime. I'll pitch it to Japan or pitch it to whoever, pitch it to Netflix, and then we'll make the anime. And then we'll make the feature length animated feature, 3D, 2D to 3D. So yeah, it's going to be everything. Made of Metal will be everything. John Pierre, have I thought about changing their names? No, their names are very deliberate. Mika means beautiful flower. Moka means peach blossom, or rather Momoka. They're based off of Japanese kanji. So Momo is peach, ka is flower. Put them together, it's peach blossom. Mika, mi is beautiful. Ka, again, flower, beautiful flower. Beautiful flower, peach blossom. So yeah, I like their names a lot. And I like that they're simple. I like they're similar too. Yeah, Moka's full name is Momoka, but shortened it's just Moka. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm feeling really good about this. I'm finally getting to the point where I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this could actually work. This could actually work. Oh yeah, here's another cool thing. See how that plane that's facing that way? See how I've already determined what this plane is going to be? Let me get a brighter color. I've already determined what all planes facing this way are going to be, so therefore it's like, oh, that plane also faces that way. Therefore, I know what color to use. Super nice, super easy, super freaky, fantastical fun. Freaky fun. We're going to be winding down in about 13 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 13 minutes. I think 2 hours is probably like the ideal stream time for me. And you know what I'd like to do for the last 13 minutes of my stream? I'd like to show you guys how I make a tartan. Let's make a tartan. All right, so the way that you make a tartan is like this. What you want to do is get in there. Actually, I need to pull up a reference on my tartan just to make sure I do it right. So hold on. Okay. I've got this. Okay, so making tartans is very fun. It's very, very simple. What you do is you are going to first figure out where your light colors are going to go, your light tartan, where that's going to go, and start drawing that upwards as though it were like a stripe. Okay, so draw yourself a little stripe like that. And feel free to just get a little messy with it, get a little crazy with it, because you can always kind of trim it back as you need. Or you could just do a clipping mask at the end of it, or rather just a mask in general. Then at the edges of those stripe, at the edges of that stripe, make 2 smaller ones, okay, like that. And then kind of go down a little bit on the fabric and be like, okay, the second stripe is going to be right there. So space them out liberally. Okay, and then there's that second one. Next one, follow the fabric. Okay, the next one's probably going to be right there. And just think about how the fabric is going to be distorting it. See how it's not a straight line? See how I kind of had that little kink in it right there? It's done deliberately. And then the other side will be like that. Okay, now that you have this, go ahead and lower down the opacity just so you can see a couple areas where you need to kind of cut it back. Like through here, I'd cut it away. Like on this little seam, I'd cut it back there. And then on any folds, I would erase just a tad bit. Now, put that back up to 100. We have a good start on a tartan. Now the next thing that you need to do is prepare yourself for the second part of the tartan. And that is the dark pieces. The dark pieces. New layer. And now you're going to do the same thing, but just go the other way. And this is cool because what you're going to do is this tartan is automatically going to be set to like, I don't know, set it to like 70%. And then give yourself like this dark red. Make it a darker version of whatever you're tartaning. Line like that, line like that, line like that. And can you see what's happening? Right before your very eyes, a sexy tartan is forming. Oh, it's too much. I love that we got the sexy saxophone going for this. This is very important. There's your tartan. Booyah. And there you go. There should be some more space between that one. There you go. So that's the start of a tartan. And what's really cool is once you've got that going, now watch what I'm about to do. You can change the colors of the tartan. You can go into your hue shifter, but like this, and then it's like, oh, I want it to be a little bit more yellow. I want it to be a little bit more purple. So you can change the color of your tartan on the fly. It's really fun. I do this all the time. So get yourself, whoops. Get yourself a tartan that looks good. Go ahead and lower the values. See how the values were all bright? I don't want them that bright. Turn it down just a little bit. Take it down a notch. Maybe more pink, maybe more blue. Actually, we should push it blue because I'm thinking blue would look really nice. Desaturate. Find that perfect color that you're looking for. I think that looks good. And voila, you have a tartan. Boop, from there to there. Oh, wasn't that easy? We can do the same thing on Mika, and then we're going to call it good. Just go ahead and merge those together. I might end up redoing that, but this was a good tutorial on how to make a tartan. It does look pretty nice. You know, on second thought, I don't think I want to do another tartan. Not today. I'm tartaned out. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do some additional changes to Mika's hair. I'm going to add in some dark values to Mika's hair. because this is really important for adding additional depth to your character's hair. So get in there and start thinking about, okay, where are the mega cast shadows going to be? There's going to be mega cast shadows there. There's going to be cast shadows within here. There's going to be darkness there. There's going to be a little bit of shadow there. And similar to what I was talking about earlier with planes, planes in the hair are very important. Elena, you're asking about 2634? Not on stream. Oh, no. The rule I follow now is just whatever works well for you. Sometimes I rest a lot longer than I work. Other times I'll just work till the frickin' sun comes up. It's like, just be in the zone. The most important thing that you can do is figure out what works for you and where you can be the most productive. You don't need to follow some pre-existing rule. Try them. Try a bunch of different things. But when you find something that works for you, nothing wrong with you setting your own rules. It's your art. It's your life. You should be doing what you like. Add in some slightly deeper values. I'm also thinking about how the skin is reflecting. The skin is reflecting brighter up into here. But I want to show these planes. Wherever there's a line, I think of it as a plane that needs to be expressed. It must be expressed. I love Mika's plainer hair. See, we're going from that to that. That to that. Now imagine that is across the entire hair, specifically in there. See that? See how pleasing that is to look at? We've increased that contrast there, therefore giving us some additional depth to our hair. And that feels nice. It makes us do little clappy clappies. We've got 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to end today's stream with a 5-minute break. I'm going to answer your final questions. Probably go into a little thoughtful to end it, and then we'll call it good. But today has been a good day. Look at this. Started here. Again, lots of subtlety. What did we learn today, class? What did we learn? It's pretty cool. I'm very happy with how far we've come. Yeah, Mocha's face looks 100% better. Mika's boobs are looking nice. Mocha's boobs looking nice. That tartan looks nice. Yeah, this thing still has a ways to go, but I'm going to knock it out on my own time. Hey, cutie. Whoa, you look super cute. Wow. You definitely cannot show that on stream. Girlfriend is in her casual attire. If you could only see what these eyes see, you would be flabbergasted. I don't even know why I got this. My girlfriend's body is like just knocking me out over here. Knocking me out. Pixels make perfect. Love you, cutie. I'm finishing up here. I'll be done in just a couple minutes. Let us see. No, if I let you see what my girlfriend looked like, she would, we'd have to take the stream down. Sorry. She's been on the stream before, but she's always coming in right at the end of work, so she looks all professional. Final questions. Please fire them off. Fire them off. When is the next stream? I don't know, Hearthale. Have I got a stream schedule? No. I would love to post it on Discord when I finally get it down, though. Go to your woo man, Rimlight says. I will. I will go to her immediately after this. Taking notes like Deku. Yeah, so to sum up what we learned today is, yes, pixels do matter. Pixels matter. Don't get bogged down, though. Understand that you have so much immense power as an artist to make the difference in your characters' faces. Gather references of faces that you've done before or faces that other people have done to make your drawing capture the same character. Try to capture that same character, okay? Give your characters nostrils, Give your girls nostrils, or just characters in general. Let them breathe, especially if you're going to pursue like a more rendered style like I'm doing. And what was the other thing? Be okay with, I think, the most important skill. And this is what I'm going to do to finish it off, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to shut off this. This is the thoughtful for the day. The most important skill that you can develop as an artist is allowing yourself to get through a piece in the best way that you can, right? Say, this is my goal. I want to create this image, and be okay with it not turning out perfect. Be okay with making mistakes. And at the end of it, because here's what's going to happen. No matter what you paint, you're going to look at it at the end and be like, oh, I definitely could have done that better. Oh, I definitely could have improved that in this piece. And you're just going to take that into the next piece. Don't get bogged down in trying to make everything perfect the first time. I think the most important skill that an artist can have is the willingness and the humility to understand that their work is going to suck a lot of the time. Let's go back to these Mika faces. You asked me to create a Mika face on the fly. Look at what I made. That is not Mika. That is not Mika at all. But I showed you, okay, let's pull in a face that I like. Let's measure it, right, with these measurements. Let's decode the puzzle, and let's try again. Let's try again. And then we got here. Still not close. Still closer, but not quite there. Then we got here. We adjusted. We used plastic surgery. We used a transform tool. We used the computer. These are the most important skills that an artist can have. Understand it's not going to be perfect the first time, the second time, or even the third time. You're going to get better as time goes, but the most important thing is learning how to study. Learn how to study your mistakes. And that is going to turn you from a great artist to a legendary artist. The next big thing. And you guys are asking me some questions. Show you how to design weapons. I already showed that. I have a tutorial on that. Granted, they're fantasy weapons. They're not properly made weapons. But I think I did a second one where I kind of did that more in detail. Micah, you can check it out. Just do KNKL weapons. I'm sure it'll come up. Embrace the suck. Yes, Dank. Lulu. Embrace the suck. And that's what we're going to end on, ladies and gentlemen. Pixels matter, and embrace the suck. Hear that? That's the sound of the end of the stream. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But I do have good news for you. Because remember that Moka, that beautiful Moka song that you heard midway through the stream? That's our outro. You guys take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you soon. I can't wait for this piece to be finished. I can't wait to put it out there for you and release some new music for you. Until next time, take care. See you later. And wash your hands. See you later. Love you guys.